on family. So family was very simply defined as a social group which is characterized by living together and reproduction and economic cooperation. It has adults of both sexes, at least two of whom are engaged in a socially approved sexual relationship, and their children. This is how Murdoch, the children could be own or biological or adopted. This is how Murdoch defines family. Then we discuss the functional theory of family, according to which the family is a universal as well as functional social institution. Murdoch suggests that more than 200 to 50 societies that he examined across the globe, in each of these he found a family unit. So then the critics would furnish, counter data or examples such as the Israeli kibbutz or single parent units or female headed units, right, to demolish or same sex couples to demolish Murdoch's claim that family is a universal social institution. And we concluded that argument that these exceptions do not necessarily prove Murdoch wrong. In the sense, family does seem to be a universal social institution, even if perhaps with a more flexible kind of an understanding of what family unit is, we have to proceed with. Then we had gone on to discuss the core functions of family as outlined by Murdoch: the sexual, the reproductive, the educational, and the economic functions. And it is, the family performs these functions very efficiently, contributes immensely to their performance, and that is what, according to Murdoch, accounts for its universality. Then we had gone on to discuss the critical views of the family of scholars like Edmund Leach and R.D. Laing and who else? Vogel and Bell. So Vogel and Bell would suggest that what do Vogel and Bell suggest? That it was the child is made an emotional scapegoat of unresolved parental conflict, and this is highly dysfunctional for the child, though it may be somewhat functional for the family unit and the society as a whole. We discussed Leach's argument, wherein he compares the nuclear family in modern industrial society to an overloaded electrical circuit, suggesting that given that it lacks the support system of a wider kinship network, the nuclear family becomes very inward-looking, with the members making very high demands on each other. These demands can never be fulfilled, leading to intense pressure and possibility of conflict within the family. To make matters worse, the family erects artificial barriers between itself and the outside world. It portrays or paints the outside world as mean and conniving and untrustworthy, thereby preventing its members from forming enduring trust-based social relationships with the rest of the society. So it is actually quite detrimental to psychological health of the individuals as well as the health of the society as a whole. We discussed the views of others like Laing and Cooper. So Laing does what? He compares it to gangsters, right? Wherein family members inflict emotional violence on each other or offer protection to each other from the other members' violence. So there is particularly a very strong nexus between a male child and his father, and that has significant implications for the well-being of the family members. We discussed David Cooper's theory, wherein he suggests that that the interiorization of the family leads to a murder of sorts of the individual on a daily basis. So we give up our own hopes, aspirations, dreams, individuality, creativity in order to receive the affirmation of the family, right? So we become a pale imitation of our family members. Our family members kind of significantly restrict the growth of the individual, and so its death is well called for, right? Then these are the critical views. Achha, just to put things in perspective, friends, please appreciate if we examine the kind of questions which have been asked in UPSC in the past, and also the topics mentioned in the syllabus. The critical views that are just recaptured, they are not expected to be asked by name. They at best may be useful as a critique of the functional perspective of the family. So the functional perspective of the family paints a rather rosy picture, and to deflate that larger than life image of the family, we can rely on these critical views. But we do not expect, based on past trends, a direct question on what were Cooper's views or Laing's views on the family, right? Why I'm mentioning this, you prepare accordingly. So if you're referring to any book that may have a criticism of Laing's views or Cooper's views, etc., we do not need to get into those details. Okay? Then we discuss in our syllabus, as per the syllabus, you have to do all the past trends. You have to understand the Marxist view, the feminist view, the functional view of the family. Okay? Then we discuss the Marxist view, starting with Engels' origin of the family, private property, and the state, wherein he argues that prehistoric times were characterized by promiscuity or free sex, roughly. There were no restrictions on sexual behavior of people, and as society evolves, with the emergence of private property, family arises as more and more restrictions are placed on the sexual behavior of the people. These restrictions are also legalized or given a legal sanction by the state. Why these, why does human sexual behavior need to be regulated? Because of the emergence of private property, so that the haves can be sure of the paternity of the children whom they are passing on their private property to. Then, and ultimately it is the monogamous marriage form which emerged. Then we also discussed how feminist scholars have applied the Marxist critique of the family to the modern working class family in capitalist industrial society. How the working class family somewhat benefits or supports the class interests of the dominant class. It reduces the bargaining power of the male worker vis-a-vis the capitalist because he has a family to support. It serves as an ideological conditioning device. It teaches the next set of workers, apart from of course reproducing them, it also teaches them traits which are conducive to the capitalist system, which is submission to authority, obedience, non-questioning attitude, etc. Then it also kind of within the working class family, the working male enjoys sort of a petty dictatorship, which serves to safely channelize his frustrations arising out of his exploitation in the capitalist system, right? Thereby making the capitalist system more secure. Yes, and it also reduces the bargaining power of the worker. Then we had discussed how family was impacted by industrialization. So the family structure was transformed from larger extended or joint family units to nuclear ones. As Parsons suggests, this is because there is a functional fit between the requirements of the industrial society and the nuclear family. The modern industrial society requires a geographically mobile workforce and is characterized by a high rate of social mobility. And it is the nuclear family which best meets these requirements. In terms of the functions of the family, A popular perspective is that the pre-industrial family performed a large number of functions, such as sexual, reproductive, educational, economic, recreational, psychological, social, security, health and fitness, well-being, etc. But with modernization or with industrialization, specialized institutions have emerged because the society has undergone structural differentiation. So specialized institutions have emerged which have taken over many of these functions, such as now you have educational institutions dedicated to teaching and hospitals and medical professionals dedicated to looking after the health and so on and so forth. The state having taken up many of the social security and welfare functions and so on. However, Parsons suggests that the nuclear family retains two vital and irreducible functions in modern society, namely the primary socialization of the young and the stabilization of adult personalities. Performance of both these functions requires an environment of love, affection, emotional bonding, a sense of security, etc., which is not present in the outside world in modern industrial society. So it is only the family unit which can perform these functions. So the family is not any less important for modern industrial society. It has only become a more specialized social institution like possibly so many others. Then we had discussed what? Apna. Kya? That these other institutions have possibly not divested the family of its earlier functions. The family continues to contribute to them, perhaps in a modified form, right? So it continues to be important as a unit of consumption in the industrial economy, if not functioning as a unit of production. It continues to be concerned about the emotional and physical well-being of its members, right? So the modern institutions are possibly complementing the family in the performance of these functions rather than displacing it altogether. So this is what we had discussed, right? Now moving ahead, with your permission, contemporary trends in marriage and family in the West. Contemporary trends in marriage and family in the West. Tell me, friends, what do you see happening? Any new developments? See, the changes that we have spoken of till now in our lectures, we have discussed the impact of industrialization. Okay, both type of questions can be asked in the UPSC exam. If the question is on the impact of industrial revolution or industrialization, you will write what has been just summarized. Okay, if the question is on contemporary trends, then what we will be discussing, that would be the content. Reason being, industrial revolution took place in the West several centuries back, right? So those changes have already taken place, like family nuclearization, etc. What is happening nowadays? That is what we are now going to focus on. So your inputs, please. So now you have gay couples or same-sex unions, yes. Divorce, yes. Homosexual couples, all right. Many of these countries are legalizing gay marriages, absolutely. Live-in relationships, absolutely. Single parents households are increasing, absolutely. Yes, all of you seem to be taken in by live-in relationships, many of you. Premarital sex is on the rise, absolutely. Yeah, dating is like what leads to it. Single parenting, dink, absolutely. Living in together, yes. So you guys are pretty much on the mark. No marriage, yes, that too. Absolutely, friends, thank you. Single person households, yes. Family become more like friends for children. I will modify that argument as we proceed. Rise in the status of women, absolutely. Extramarital affairs, oh yes. Increase in divorce rates. Residential schools, oh yes. Adopting pets as family members or children. Having no children, yes. Legalizing prostitution, polyamory. Very well, friends. Thank you for your inputs. You guys are pretty much on the mark. So I will try to collate and put together this information in a somewhat more systematic manner, as also substantiate it with statistics, right? Because we in sociology, we claim to be a scientific discipline, right? So rather than our arguments seeming to be off the cuff remarks or loosely held opinions, they should come across as a scientific assessment of the changes in the realm of marriage and family. So I'll be trying to do that, and also discussing with some scholarly perspectives. Chali. So let us try to appreciate what all changes have occurred. First is a change in how marriage is viewed. Marriage, which is the basis of family. So there has been a transformation in intimacy. And the societal attitudes towards marriage have undergone a change. Anthony Giddens has written very engagingly on the issue. How the view of marriage or the social attitude towards marriage has changed in the West. In pre-industrial society, in the West, we are talking completely in the Western context, not in India. In the pre-industrial times, what was the basis or reason for marriage? Why did people get married? The reasons for marriage were, should we say practical, like the satisfaction of the sex need or the need for reproduction. Then there was this need for, simply women would require somebody to take care of them after the passing away of their father. Men would require a woman to cook for them and raise children, etc. So it was that kind of a practical arrangement. And of course, there was also the, how religion defined marriage as an important social obligation of the individual. So these were the reasons for marriage in pre-industrial society. Now, with industrialization, what happens in industrial society? In industrial society, why did people start getting married? A new basis for marriage or intimacy developed, which was what? What was the new basis of marriage? Why does one want to get married? Absolutely, it was love, or rather romantic love. Okay, not a mother's love or that kind of a love, or a brother's love, but romantic love became the new basis of marriage and intimacy after the industrialization of the West. This notion of romantic love was popularized. How? Through literature. Okay, like novels, etc., romantic novels. They greatly popularized this notion of romantic love. And that became one of the primary movers or reasons for people hooking up together or settling down together for life. Now, this notion of romantic love, friends, please appreciate. This idea was developed popularized through literature. That, this notion of a soulmate, that an individual is somewhat incomplete without a partner with whom you are destined to live forever. The notion of an ideal man and an ideal or a perfect man and a perfect woman, they were developed and popularized. How's the perfect man? If you've read any romantic Western literature like Mills and Boon or something, how's the perfect man? It's captured in so many, phrases like tall, dark, and handsome. He is chivalrous, right? So he would open the car door for you and kind of a thing, right? So he's like this protector, this true to his word kind of a guy. And how's the perfect woman? She is, of course, very beautiful. She is also a virgin, right? And now this perfect man, so everybody started embarking on this project of finding one's soulmate, a perfect man and a perfect woman who are kind of made for each other. And more recently, what has happened? This notion of romantic love has not entirely faded away. It continues to be important, to be sure. A 2013 survey by Pew Research. Okay, that's a research conducting organization. They conduct various social surveys on a variety of issues, such as family and societal attitudes towards homosexuality or political inclination, so many things. So according to a 2000 survey by Pew Research, 88% Americans cited love as a very important reason to get married. So love continues to be quite important in the scheme of things. Are we also moving in this direction? Just as an aside, we'll be discussing about marriage and family in India in paper 2 in detail. And how is this notion of romantic love being popularized in Indian society? Is it literature? It is popular cinema, absolutely. Not so much literature, right? But it is popular cinema, right? See, when it happened in the West, that time there was no, motion pictures, etc. So cinema is any day a more powerful medium than literature. So, all these SRK, Karan Johar kind of movies, before him Yash Chopra, all that, or whichever kind of regional language also cinema you look, it popularizes this notion of romantic love, right? So a lot of people in their growing up years, starting with adolescence, they start seeking or looking for that perfect soulmate, right? Yes, that Simran dialogue, right? That tu jeele apni zindagi. Now, interestingly, friends, if you look at Indian society, what happens is that you have various restrictions on, mate selection at the time of marriage. Very importantly, stuff like caste and gotra, right? So these are very important criteria. So that makes difficult for a person to kind of locate a soulmate, right? Within that restricted pool of permissible marriage types. So in India, the system is like slightly the sequence is opposite. Okay, first you get married to a person who meets the criteria of caste and gotra, etc. After which you attempt to fall in love. Yes or no? That's why honeymooning is very popular in India. It's like go spend 5-10 days away from the family and fall in love and come back. So that's how it works. Anyways, coming back to the Western society. So Giddens suggests that more recently, the Western society has seen the development of, in contemporary times, it has seen the development of plastic sexuality. Why is it called plastic sexuality? In the sense, now sexuality is very, very flexible. Like plastic, it can be molded any which way, shaped. Okay. So in recent times or contemporary times, I've witnessed the emergence of plastic sexuality. Simply put, friends, there is an increasing flexibility as regards the number of sexual dates, as regards what kind of sexual behavior one undertakes with which persons. Okay, there's a lot of flexibility and maneuvering in that regard. These earlier forms, they were pretty, should we say, rigid. Okay, so once you're married to a fellow in pre-industrial or even in industrial society, marriage was a given, right? So once you're married, you are married for good. In the industrial society, was marriage like for good, or was it kind of a breakable union? It was again for good in industrial society. Why? Because you fall in love how many times? Only once. Okay? Sacha pyar, true love, there is only one soulmate, so your whole emphasis is on finding that perfect fellow and then living together happily ever after. Okay, so that is the idea. So marriages here were also, they had that, aspect of permanence. These intimate relationships or marriages, they also based on romantic love, also had that notion of permanence about them. But in contemporary times, plastic sexuality suggests that people are no more bound together forever or throughout their lives. So, till how long do people stay together? Till how long? Till as long as both the persons feel that they are benefiting from the arrangement. Right? So, point is, you are no more constrained, or you no more compelled to maintain or live in a relationship which does not suit you. So these marriages nowadays are not forever marriages or intimate relationships. Now, why this change has taken place? One very important factor has been the development of a particular technology. Which technology? Contraceptive technology. Advancements in the field of contraceptive technology that have ushered in, or that has led to literally a decoupling of sex and reproduction. So once contraceptive technologies like condoms, and very importantly female contraceptive technologies like the IPIN, once they became popular, okay, then sex and reproduction, they were kind of de-linked from each other. Earlier, please appreciate, before the advent or mass popularization of contraceptives, if a man and a woman had sex, it was quite likely it may end up in reproduction. So reproduction of children, it would imply responsibilities and sharing of parental duties, etc. So there was this permanence because of that aspect. But now, because of the development of contraceptive technology, it literally ushered in the women's liberation movement, contributed significantly to the women's liberation movement in the West in 1950s and 60s. And that has kind of empowered people, and very importantly women, to de-link sex and reproduction. So people can now engage in sexual relations without being encumbered with children. So that has given that flexibility in terms of number of intimate partners and the duration of that union, etc. So the relationship now exists still as long as it is mutually acceptable or seen as beneficial by both persons. Yes, many of you are suggesting now you have this, one night stands, etc. And more so, even more recently, like, with the development of these dating apps, right? It has become even more easy. Now, interestingly, Anthony Giddens terms this current phase as pure love. It is pure love. Why pure? Because now you are not together because, you've birthed children, or because you are due to any societal pressures or practical necessities. But you are together only because, or maybe not only as long as, but only because you really truly want to be together. So that is how the notion of intimacy and relationships has transformed in contemporary times. Secondly, friends, another important development has been an increasing trend of getting married late. In other words, the age of marriage is on the rise in the West. Any this thing, at what age would people be getting married on an average? Say, what will be the average age for marriage for men and for women separately? Let's begin with men. Any guesses? 21, we're talking about the West, yeah. 28, 30, 35. Okay, so please note down, as per the 2018 US Census Bureau data, 2018 US Census Bureau data, the average age of first marriage, in the US has increased to 30 years for men and 28 years for women. Okay. So UPSC aspirants, one would suspect are at par with Americans when it comes to the average age of marriage. Now, the first marriage means because people also tend to have multiple marriages, so we are talking about the age of first marriage. Okay, on an average is 30 years for men and 28 years for women. Now, this has significant social implications, friends. The rise in the age of marriage has significant social implications. What? For one, it will lead to what? A lowering of the fertility rate. If people get married late, then the fertility window is that much shortened, particularly for women. So there would be a decline in overall fertility because people are getting married late. Also appreciate, friends, now we become sexually active with the onset of puberty, right? So a delayed age at marriage means that the sex desire has kind of set in and there's no way of kind of its fulfillment in the marriage. So what happens is, since the age at marriage is reduced, the society has developed alternative mechanisms to satisfy the sexual need. Which means what? Simply an increasing incidence of premarital sex. And you have, for example, institutionalization of dating in order to facilitate premarital sex. The age of first sexual intercourse, has reduced to, any guesses? What would be your guess? When are people having on average their first intercourse? And it's not just like, little bit of sex, but full intercourse we're talking here. Good, many of you are on the mark and some are way off the mark. So it has reduced to 16 to 18 years. 16 to 18 years. So people are getting married late by 28, 30, but since the sex desire kicks in, so the society has developed mechanisms like dating and now you are, what do you call, having your first sexual intercourse on an average by 16 to 18 years of age. Another trend, friends, live-in relationships are on the rise. formal term for live-in relationships we may use is unmarried cohabitation. Unmarried cohabitation. Simply you cohabit or live together without getting married. Unmarried cohabitation. As of 2016, 7% of American adults were in live-in relationships. Point is, friends, that not only is this a growing trend, there is also increasing social acceptance, right, of such unmarried cohabitation. Earlier, marriage was considered as a given or a presumption that if somebody are living together, then they are a married couple, or people live together only after marriage. As of 2016, 7% of American adults are in live-in relationships. Is there somewhat of an institutionalization of live-in relationships in India also? Just as an aside, what's your take? Do you know people who are actually living in live-in relationships personally? So many of you do. It's really revealing, should I say. For some of you, many friends, huh? So it's a growing trend in India as well. Yes, perhaps not statistically as significant, but it is a growing trend. So much so, even legislation has taken cognizance of it, right? So the Domestic Violence Act, which has been interpreted that it will be also applicable to live-in partners, right? So if a man abuses physically his live-in partner, then she can also claim kind of protection under the Domestic Violence Act. Okay, one of you suggesting it is a popular trend in Old Rajendra Nagar. Yes, possibly. Chali. Another important trend would be single-person households. So the proportion of single-person households is increasing. In 1961, 12% of all households in the US were single-person households. Single-person households means it is like a single man or a single woman living all by himself or herself. Yes, it's the next point. In 1961, 12% of all households in the US were single-person households. By 2010, this had increased to 29%. 29%, almost 1 in every 4, 1 in every 3, whatever, households. So very significant increase in the proportion of single-person households. What is a household? Household, roughly put for our purposes, it is like how many persons are there in that unit living together. Okay, so in many houses, simply it is a single person running his own kitchen and kind of living alone. This also has very significant social implications. When you have almost 1/4 of all households as single-person households, again this would contribute to a lowering of the fertility rate. What else? It would also mean greater flexibility in spending habits, right? Because people who are living in, with other members of a family, they would have greater obligations, financial concerns, saving for a rainy day kind of an approach. Chade, or single persons, they have that much greater freedom to spend as they want. Of course, single person households would mean the average household size is also reduced. Average household size meaning how many people are living under a roof. On an average, that would go down if many houses have only one person. Greater flexibility in spending patterns. Also appreciate, it has led to a booming personal care industry, nursing and other such facilities. All of us, all members of the society, they sometimes tend to fall sick, require being tended to, being cared for, right? Now, since it is typically family members who would do that, if you were to fall sick, but if you're living all by yourself, you will require assistance of professionals. So a very billion-dollar industry, billions of dollars industry has emerged to meet the needs of these single persons. Single persons, it also implies increasing mobility in the labor market. Simply, when a person is living with family and children, he has to think twice before he would shift to another city, right? Because the wife's job has to be looked at, the child's education and school friends and everything. But now, if you are all by yourself, if you're a chala, you can simply pack your bags and go to a more lucrative job location, right? Now let us come to the trends which are visible in the arena of reproduction. What's happening to reproduction, friends? Yes, so a very clear trend of decline in fertility rate. In fact, so much so, many Western societies are dealing with the problem of a declining population. Okay, so the number of people dying is more than the number of people being born. So the overall population is it has a negative growth or a declining trend. In many, not all, but in many Western societies, there is a declining population because of a declining trend of fertility. Now, since the age of marriage has increased, the age of first child being born has also increased. The age at which people are having their first child has also increased. In other words, people are bearing children at a later age than earlier. Another important aspect is rising incidence of childlessness or infertility. so an increasing number of people are confronted with the problem of childlessness. Is it also happening in our country, in India? Do you see around you, particularly in the cities? Though we are a very different demography than the West, right? We have a problem of a very large and growing population. But yes, in pockets, we do find, or in segments of the population, we do find the problem of childlessness also in our country. Why? You pick up the, Sunday supplement newspaper, or one of these days, there will be large advertisements of these fertility clinics. So, but why is infertility on the rise? Various factors. One is, of course, the increase in the age of marriage in the West. So, since people are getting married late, so the fertility window is reduced. Apart from that, there are lifestyle factors, such as long working hours, such as, because of the very competitive and stressful situations in the workplace, people have very high levels of stress and tensions. Tiredness, there's this, what we call DINK, double income, no kids, with both the husband and the wife earning, right, in order to satisfy one's material needs. Both need to earn, so both are earning, leaving them with neither the time nor the energy to have sex and beget children. Then it could be due to diseases and physical ailments, due to consumption of alcohol, cigarettes, etc. It leads to a lower sperm count, and likewise in women. 15% American women aged 40 to 44 years in this age bracket had never birthed any children. Those women surveyed were in this age group, okay, but this doesn't mean they're not birthed only in this age bracket. Of course they won't, but they were past their birthing or the reproductive age, and they had never given birth to any children. This is what we are suggesting. Now, another important aspect in reproduction is the increasing role of technology in the birthing process. Increasing role played by technology in the birthing process. To give you an kind of a estimate of how much technology is intervening. Why this is important, please appreciate, because birthing otherwise was considered a very natural process. The whole thing of a new life coming out of a woman's body, right, and she carrying it for 9 months and so on and so forth, that was very akin to, say, birthing in the animal kingdom, etc. So it was all seen as a very kind of a natural process. But increasingly what is happening, technology is mediating. So much so that 1/3 of all births in America are through cesarean technology, what we call C-section or cesarean. So they're not coming out of the natural opening in a woman's body, rather it is through the stomach that a cut is being made and the child is taken out through cesarean operation. And then of course you have various other technologies, more recent, which are increasing in usage or popularity, such as IVF, surrogacy. In India also, is it like, do you see it? Just anecdotal data, anecdotal evidence, not hard data. Do you see increasing reliance on technology in the birthing process? Say in your families and people around you, your brothers and bhabis and chachas, right? So we see similar trends in India, but perhaps not on the same scale, and perhaps more restricted to a segment of the population. Some of you are suggesting that private hospitals, particularly, the more expensive ones, they deliberately push patients into delivery through C-section because they make more money in it, possibly. Chali. Another interesting, very, should I say, startling kind of a revelation it came to me as, was that increasingly there is, births are taking place outside of marriage. Births outside of marriage are on the rise. About 40% of all births in the US are to unmarried mothers. This was really a revelation for me, that more than 1/3 of all children are being born outside wedlock. Which is in stark contrast to our society, where you have this, what do we call a child born out of wedlock in our society? Yes, an illegitimate child, najayaz, right? But when you have almost every second child being born out of wedlock, then the whole notion of legitimate and illegitimate would undergo a transformation at the societal level. Okay? So, that is another important development in what you call the realm of reproduction. Moving on, regarding the elderly. Now please appreciate, the Western world is by and large, somewhat youth-centric culture they have. They celebrate youth. The elderly are somewhat considered of a, past their prime, economically unproductive, and therefore somewhat of a burden on the society. Now, how the elderly were accommodated in the family, that has changed over the years. Earlier, meaning say about a century back, okay, the trend was, so this was in industrial society only, but about a century back, the trend was that, say, there is M1 married to F1 who has a small baby, M2. Okay, so when this guy is 25 years, this boy is born, and when this guy is 0 years, when this guy reaches 25 years of age, small M2 or whatever, he marries a woman and he establishes his own household. So he's now 25, and now these guys are 50 years old. And he would venture out on his own, so he has established his own household. This is a nuclear household, and this is a nuclear household. Now, after some time, say at the age of about 75 years, another 25 years down the line, one of these guys would die away, right? So say the man dies, leaving his widow behind. So she would then move in with her, what you call, adult children. Okay, so this was how the kind of family cycle worked in American society. Or if she had 2 sons, maybe 6 months with one and 6 months with another, something of that sort. Now what has happened? After the death of the spouse, the elderly are seen not to be moving in with their children. Rather, they are choosing to increasingly stay alone by themselves. Please note down, in 1910, only 12% of widows above 65 years age lived alone. Only 12% of the widows above 65 years of age were staying alone. But nowadays, 70% of them stay alone. Now, why this change has happened? Why are the elderly opting to stay alone rather than moving in with their adult children after the death of a spouse? One thing is, friends, that in general there has been an improvement in the health standards in the societies. So people at 65 plus today are not so physically weak or dependent as they were a century back. Also, the state has kind of provided a social security system to take care of the elderly, thereby reducing the reliance on one's children in old age. And absolutely, as some of you are suggesting, it also offers them greater freedom to the elderly. So they don't have to live as per the dictates of their adult children. Next dimension we should appreciate: the relationships within the family are changing. Intra-family relationships are also getting transformed. Please appreciate, friends, earlier in the West, man and woman, they were seen as complementary to each other, that they complement each other. Complementary means, friends, for example, if this is a unit, then this is its complement. Meaning together they make a complete whole. Right? They fit in well together. They are different from each other, and they are kind of what this one can do, this one cannot, and what this can do, this one cannot. Right? So the man was the main breadwinner, the woman was looking after the household and children, and they had a complementary kind of a relationship, each completing the other as it were. Now, from this complementary view of the man-woman relationship, the relationship has become increasingly egalitarian. Increasingly egalitarian. So they are not necessarily today seen as performing different roles, because now women are also increasingly earning a livelihood. They are gainfully employed outside the home, taking on responsibilities other than tending to children or the household chores. So both man and woman would contribute to the household income. Both man and woman would also contribute to or share the household chores somewhat. But please appreciate, friends, this equality. It's not like completely egalitarian. It is only relatively more egalitarian. Okay, it is not characterized by complete or full equality, but only relative or comparable to the past. The relationship today is more egalitarian. Likewise, the parent-child relationship, which was earlier clearly hierarchical. Authoritarian. So the parents clearly enjoyed authority over their children. The children must submit to parental authority. There is a trend towards, somewhat of a more consensus-building approach, democratization of relationships within the family. So instead of now parents imposing their decisions on children, children are also being consulted or, their concerns taken into account while taking family decisions. Simply put, for example, if I were a Western man 100 years back, and if I got a job in a new city, which is more lucrative, what will I tell my wife and children? That we leave in a week, I've got a better job, so start packing. But today, if a man gets a better offer in another city, he will tell the company that let me just discuss it with my family, and I will get back to you. So he'll go home and he'll tell his son John, that John beta, Papa has got this great opportunity, right, in another city. I know it will entail a lot of adjustments on your part because you have your friends here and everything. But possibly I've searched online and there's this very amazing school which you can join, and so on and so forth. So increasingly, children are, instead of parental decisions being imposed on them, they are being made a part of the decision-making process. Another important trend. So quickly wrap up and then I'll proceed in another half a minute, whatever you're writing. Another important trend, and very, very significant, is increase in divorce rates. Any wild guesses? What would be the divorce rates in Indian society. In our society, how many marriages end up in divorce? Okay, I'm getting very, very wild figures ranging from 1% to 20, 30%. So in India, the divorce rate is less than 5%. Okay, significantly lesser than 5%. So people tend to stay married once they are married, and the divorce rate is very, very low. In contrast, the divorce rate in Western societies is as high as 30% to 50%. Every second or third marriage is falling apart in the West, while in India, 1 to 5 in 100 would be falling apart. A stark contrast. Why is it? Why is it that they are calling off their marriages so quickly while we tend to stick together? Do we make for better husbands and wives? Is that the case? Are we simply more loving? No, we are not. Societal pressure and we compromise and this and that. See, we may have a lot of unhappy marriages, okay, but we'll stay married, even if it's an unhappy marriage. That marriage may be sexless, bondingless, right? There may be affairs on the side, and so on and so forth. Because women are not independent. So many factors. Point is, we tend to stay married. Now let us try to appreciate the reasons for high divorce rates in the West. Various factors have contributed to rising divorce rates. For one, it is the financial independence of women. So in traditional or modernizing societies like ours, a large chunk of the women population is still financially dependent on men. So they simply have no option but to bear whatever kind of an unhealthy marriage it is, right? But increasing financial independence of women in the West have enabled them to not continue in a unsatisfactory marriage. Simply friends, दो पैसे कमाना सीख गई हैं औरतें तो अब वो आदमियों को जवाब देने लग गई हैं, right? Then there is secularization. Secularization means what? A decline in the or a non-religious view of marriage. Earlier, yes, I know, I deliberately sounded patriarchal there. Now, earlier marriage was viewed as a religious bond or a religion-sanctioned social institution, right? But with the society undergoing secularization, in other words, with religion declining in importance in society, people becoming less religious, the view of marriage has also become more practical. So, those church vows of till death do us part, they no more hold people together. They see marriage in more practical terms as whether it is beneficial or not. Also, friends, the legislation governing divorce has been made more, it has reduced, it has been somewhat, the complexity and the time and the cost involved in divorce all have come down with changes in legislation. Another aspect is, friends, like we had discussed, Leach's concept that the nuclear family is like an overloaded electrical circuit. So, point is that with what is happening is that increasing demands are being placed by the marital couple on each other which cannot be fulfilled, leading to increasing tensions and conflicts. Of course, one very important point which keeps people in marriage in India, it is what? What are we worried about most? Is it, shall we say, loneliness or something? Log kya kahenge? Absolutely. What will people say? Right? There is a very high degree of social stigma associated with divorce in our society. In the West, in contrast, the stigma associated with divorce has been significantly reduced, making it that much more acceptable and commonplace. Okay? So there are such various reasons for increase in divorce rates. So does that mean that, will it be fair to conclude that high divorce rates indicate that Western societies, they do not value the institution of marriage as much as we do? Will that be fair to say? No. Parsons, now he is this great defender of American style modernity. He suggests that increase or high divorce rates in America indicate not low but high value associated with marriage in the West. What he argues is basically that people in societies with low divorce rates like India, okay, they do not have many or high expectations from marriage. Therefore, they are willing to compromise in a bad marriage. In contrast, Americans value marriage so much, they are not willing to settle for anything which is not satisfactory. So instead of indicating a low value associated with marriage, a high divorce rate indicates high value that the society, American society, attaches to the institution of marriage. Moreover, friends, this very firm, very high value that the American society attaches to marriage is also reflected in the high remarriage rates. So they don't stop. If one marriage fails, they try again, which indicates how greatly they value the institution of marriage. A high remarriage rate also points towards the immense value that the society attaches to marriage. According to Pew Research, America we are talking about, in 20% of the marriages, 20% of all marriages are a remarriage for one spouse. In another 20% of the marriages, of all marriages, it is a remarriage for both. right? I repeat, 20% of all marriages in US are a remarriage for one spouse and 20% are a remarriage for both the man and the woman. So there's a very high incidence of remarriage as well, which according to Parsons' warped logic suggests that Americans greatly believe in the institution of marriage and attach a high value to it. Now this high divorce rate and high rate of remarriage has important social implications, has significant social implications. For one, it indicates an increase in single parent households. So if a person gets divorced from his or her spouse, then the child would live with one of the parents. So one parent raising a child all by himself or herself, typically herself, right? Mostly or more often women raise children after separation or divorce than men. So a rise in single parent households. It also means increase in step families. Step families means, so say a man and woman were married with children, okay, say M2, then they got divorced and the woman married another man M3 and the child moved in with her. So this is a step family, right? Why? Because this relationship, he's a stepfather and he's a stepson and the biological mother here. Or if this guy, it's a remarriage for him also, so he also has gotten his child, right? Say F whatever, okay, so say if M3 was married to F3 and he had a daughter F2, okay, so M2 and F2 now, this guy coming from his marriage, his daughter and her son coming from her previous marriage, right? So a lot of, now please appreciate friends, the intra-family relationships in a single parent household or a step family are significantly different from a biological family unit. Very different dynamics, work allocation. Now for example, in a lot of single parent households, it's like a woman living with a son or daughter, okay, in this unit. Now earlier, if a unit was like this, then he would undertake some tasks, she would undertake some tasks, for example cooking. But now cooking and earning money and cleaning and now when this guy is not there, she has to raise the child all by herself. The child will take up increasing responsibilities, shoulder some responsibilities. He may look after the cleaning of the house or the cooking or whatever, or looking after younger siblings. So point is, the relationships undergo a change. Likewise in this household, the relationships are very different than in a biological family unit. In the United States, please note down, in the US, 50% of the children below 13 years of age live in step families. Now please appreciate this guy, the kind of authority he enjoys over this boy is very different from what a biological father would enjoy. Yes or no? So very different dynamics. Can a sibling relationship be sexual, friends? It sounds such a gross idea, right? And so what crap are you talking or suggesting? Not in a biological family unit, but what about this relationship? If they are step siblings, say this guy is like 16 years old and she is 15 years old and their parents get married, is this relationship a potentially sexual relationship? Right? So point is that the whole dynamics is very different in a step family unit. Then there are other aspects. For example, okay, let me just introduce, one way in which you can get a question on this topic. We are continuing with contemporary trends. Or let me take a break. Okay, let's take a well-deserved break and then we continue. Prevalent in Western societies regarding city. So, staying with the topic of contemporary, trends in marriage and family in the West, I also want to discuss a particular aspect or a particular manner in which a question can be asked from this topic, which is regarding family diversity. Okay. Or diversity in types of family forms which are prevalent in Western societies. On that issue, friends, you have that scholar like Edmund Leach. He suggests that the stereotypical portrayal of the family, of comprising of an adult man in a union with an adult female and with dependent children, right? This is what he terms as a serial package image of the family. It's the serial package image of the family, right? Like you have a package of cereals like Kellogg's or something. Meaning what? It is simply kind of an advertising imagery which does not have a connect with the ground reality. So family is portrayed as this happy and harmonious unit of love, togetherness, bonding, etc. Right? Actual family life does not reflect this image. It does not live up to this image. In fact, there is a great divergence from the serial package image, which comprises of a happily married couple and dependent children. The husband being the dutiful husband and the main breadwinner, responsible and everything. The wife being the dutiful wife, tending after the children and so on. The lovely homemaker. It is a serial package image of the family. Okay? Are you able to appreciate this? What they use in advertising, even in Indian advertising, they use such imagery. Right? The perfect happy family. The husband coming home after work and being fed by the wife such lovely cooked food in a prestige pressure cooker kind of a thing. Yeah, home sweet home and lovely husband, lovely wife. Things couldn't be better. That kind of an image. This doesn't reflect the reality of family life. In the empirical world, families do not conform to the serial package image. A feminist like Barry Thorne attacks this glorification of the family, particularly with its notion of motherhood and nurturing and this nuclear family with the motherhood role of the woman being glorified, and suggests that actual social life has a variety of household forms. In fact, Rona Rapport suggests that family diversity is a global trend. Across the globe, we find increasingly different types of family forms becoming prevalent. Family diversity is a global trend. Just to give you an instance, data from UK, data from the English Society in 2010 and 1961. See how family patterns have changed. Married couple with dependent children. Married couple with dependent children. You know what is glorified as the typical family in modern society? They comprised 38% of all households in 1961 and declined to 21% by 2010. In other words, friends, this serial packet image of the family, forget the happiness factor, even the composition. Only 1/5 of all households conform to it. In contrast, there are a large number of single-person households. Single-person households have risen from 12% to 29%. Almost 1/3 of all people are living alone. Single-parent household with a dependent child, that has increased, it has tripled almost from 2% to 7%, more than tripled. So point is, friends, the other types of family forms are growing in importance, and this stereotypical happy nuclear family isn't the norm. The names I had quoted till now, I had quoted Edmund Leach, that he challenges this notion of the stereotypical, this what he calls the serial packet image of the family. I had quoted Rona Rapport and Barry Thorne. Okay. Chaliye. Yes, Rona Rapport, R-H-O-N-A, Rapport. Another trend is of same-sex couples or unions, or same-sex families. Friends, has the incidence of homosexuality increased in society? I mean, what is your gut feel? Would that be a fair assessment to make? We can't be too sure of, but what we do witness is that there are more people in Western societies living an openly gay lifestyle. Okay, so people are living in openly gay or lesbian lifestyles increasingly in the West. Jeffrey Weeks. Before we come to what do you call? Let me proceed with Jeffrey Weeks. What he suggests, that gays and lesbians, they see their households as chosen families. Chosen families. In other words, they choose whom to include in their circle of closeness, intimacy, instead of being determined by birth, as is conventionally the case with the conventional family, right? It is said that you are born in a family, right? So you can't choose your family members. But in gay and lesbian households, increasingly there is this notion of chosen families. So they choose their circle of intimacy, of trust, of emotional support. In other words, friends, if my parents do not accept my sexuality, I may not include them in my circle of intimacy, and rather include my friends who do support or are empathetic towards my sexual orientation in my circle of closeness. Sasha Rosnell suggests that heteronorm has been effectively challenged in the West. Heteronormativity or heteronorm, assumption that a sexual union between a male and a female is the norm. It is the normal form, that has been sufficiently challenged. Moreover, the lines between friendship and intimacy are getting blurred. The lines between friendship and intimacy are getting blurred. In other words, friends, people may be friends today and a couple tomorrow with that relationship characterized by sexual intimacy, and then again, day after they may become friends. There is a blurring of the lines between friends and lovers. Lovers may become friends, friends may become lovers. Increasing number of people have multiple sexual partners. So, sexuality is characterized by increasing diversity and flexibility. Now all this phenomena, it began possibly with same-sex couples. But it has also had an impact on heterosexual relationships. So straight people are also now having such kind of flexible and diverse type of relationships. Yes, it has been somewhat also made popular through sitcoms. If you may have seen some English of the most popular one being Friends, right? And then you have many others like Modern Family and etc., where they show these fluid and flexible kind of living arrangements. So a person or a character in these shows, he may be straight for a while and then engage with his male buddy for a few months and then get married to a woman and whatnot. Right? Also appreciate, friends, any idea what would be the incidence of same-sex unions in the Western societies? Say in United States of America. What would be the incidence of same-sex marriage? Any guesses? It is very low. It is less than 0.5%. Less than 0.5% of all marriages in USA are same-sex marriages. But the public discourse has been significantly affected by it. So, showed बहुत ज़्यादा है, incidence कम है. And along with that, LGBT rights discourse, there is a growing acceptance of same-sex marriages. According to a Pew Research survey, in 2010, 42% Americans favored legalizing same-sex marriages. In 2017, 62% Americans favored legalizing same-sex marriages. An important event which occurred in 2015 was the US Supreme Court judgment legalizing same-sex marriages in the country. So point is that societal attitudes towards same-sex marriages are changing. Though the incidence of same-sex marriages may be very less, but there is greater acceptance of these alternative lifestyles and alternative sexuality. Apart from this survey was about the attitude of people towards or on the issue of support to same-sex marriages. Okay, and 42% people supported same-sex marriages and 42% in 2010. It rose to 62% of Americans by 2017. In 2015, there was a Supreme Court judgment in the US legalizing same-sex marriages, and that kind of affected social attitudes also, led to greater acceptance. Okay. Chaliye, next point. There is a significant rise in inter-ethnic or interracial marriages and interreligious marriages. Please appreciate, friends. According to Pew Research, in 1967, 3% people in America were in interracial or interethnic marriages. By 2015, it had risen to 17%. A very significant rise in interracial and interethnic marriages. So again, you would appreciate there would be a coming together of cultures within the household, of cultures or subcultures, when people of different ethnic stock are more freely intermingling. In terms of interreligious marriages, the rise was from 19% of the people in 1967 to 39% in 2010. 17% is in 2015. When I'm talking about interethnic marriages, they rose from 3% of the population in 67 to 17% of the population in 2015. Talking about interreligious marriages, 19% of the population were in interreligious marriages in 67. It rose to 39% in 2010. Okay. So these are some of the important trends in marriage and family in the modern Western societies. Okay. And all this also contributes to diversity in types of family, right? Whether it is step families or these interracial, interethnic, interreligious families or same-sex couples. Simply put that, harmonious view of marriage as comprising of all happily married people with nice children, that does not hold water. Okay. Now, also appreciate why these changes have taken place, and then we call it a day. Now, these changes have taken place in the realm of marriage and family due to a variety of factors. Okay, I'm talking about overall, not any specific of these, but various factors have contributed to these changes, such as developments in the realm of science and technology. Whether it is contraceptive technologies or it is birthing technologies like C-section, IVF, surrogacy. Nowadays, dating apps and social media, which have made cheating on the spouse that much easier. There was a website in America which was dedicated to extramarital affairs. I'm forgetting the name. If any of you can help me, and there was a big scandal because the data leaked out, and many marriages broke because of that. Adam something or something like that. Do you recollect? It was in the news a few years back. A website in America, website or app which was dedicated to extramarital affairs. So, I'm forgetting the name, friends, and the data leaked out. Okay. Anyways, so that has made transformed our relationships, including marriages, very significantly. Apart from that, it is due to demographic factors, such as an aging population profile, reduction in mortality rates. It could be changes in societal values, such as the decline of the significance of religion, growing individualism. Yes, Ashley Madison. Thank you. It was Ashley Madison, the one I had in mind, the cheating website by the name of Ashley Madison. Yeah. It could be due to change in values, with increasing individualism and erosion of the significance of religion in society. It could be due to changes in laws, like we discussed, the loosening of, or the making changes in laws making divorce easier and cheaper. Okay, this Glidden one I have not heard of. Some people are suggesting an extramarital dating app called Glidden, but I'm not aware of it. Maybe so, possibly. It could be due to factors like migration, globalization, right? Various such factors have contributed to changes in the realm of marriage and family in the West. And with that, we call it a day. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद.